Our heroes find themselves fighting in a dungeon, and after defeating the last enemy, Narcina mentions that she can still fight. However, her hunger betrays her, as all the fighting has made her ravenous. Thus, the two decide to have a small picnic. Lost is shocked to see how much food they have just for the two of them, and Narcina tells him that all the food comes from the leftovers of what Armia was unable to finish. Lost comments that the Hydra is a very fierce and poisonous monster. Its muscles are highly developed, and its scales are so hard that they repel physical and magical attacks with ease, making it a very dangerous foe. Hearing this, Narcina worries for Armia, as she doesn't know if she will be okay. Lost immediately assures her that although Hydras are not overly abundant, they are more common than other high-level monsters, which has allowed them to be studied extensively. For example, its venom is known to be lethal if not treated quickly, so a special antidote was developed that is fairly easy to find in Mardat. However, Narcina tells him that Lyra mentioned they had not bought the antidote. Lost replies that they will have to rely on Lyra's antidote spell then. Still, Lost calms Narcina by saying that despite his personality, Margulis is a skilled swordsman, and when he is in top form and does not underestimate his enemy, he is formidable. Furthermore, Siberia is also known for her speed and agility, and although the multi-headed Hydra has keen vision, it is likely that she can catch it by surprise. Listening to the way Lost talks about the lightning swords, Narcina thinks he holds them in high regard. However, Lost replies that he is only speaking objectively. Afterwards, Narcina mentions that they always go to the same labyrinth and suggests going somewhere else, such as the wetlands. Meanwhile, the lightning blades are facing the Hydra. It seems like they are gaining the upper hand, but just as Shig is about to land a critical hit, he decides against it and tells Margulis that the Hydra is his prey, so it would be best if he took it down. The blonde, pleased with Shig's words, charges forward but fails to inflict any damage. Lyra, who is healing Siberia, wonders why Margulis is attacking head-on, and Siberia replies that that is his style. Lyra also wonders what Shig is doing, as he seems to be resting. Apparently, his attacks have done quite a bit of damage to the Hydra, as it is now slower. Their strategy seems to be working, as when the Hydra is distracted by Siberia, Margulis takes advantage and attacks with all his might, and Armia's spells are not entirely useless, so they might finally be able to defeat the Hydra. However, at that moment, the Hydra throws a rock that incapacitates Armia. Seeing that she is about to be attacked, she faints from fright. After that, fear begins to visibly manifest on her body. Shig mentions that some creatures are capable of devouring fear and converting it into energy, although it is rare for fear to be visible. Lyra quickly realizes that the Hydra is absorbing Armia's mana, which is causing her to mutate, as monsters that absorb large amounts of magic tend to transform to enhance their abilities. Now, in its new form, the Hydra is much stronger. Shig asks Lyra to take care of Armia and tells Margulis that it would be best to retreat. However, Margulis does not listen, arguing that they are close to defeating it and that he can still cut off one of its heads. He quickly launches an attack, declaring that he will become the Hydra Slayer, but his attack has no effect, destroying his own sword in the process. Just before he is devoured by the beast, he is saved at the last moment by Lost, who joins the fight alongside Narcina. Lost goes to help Armia, who is in very bad shape, and begins using a basic healing spell. Lyra quickly tells him it won't work, but Margulis and Siberia mention that's what he always did with them, so they aren't surprised. To Lyra's astonishment, it works, and Armia briefly regains consciousness, thanking Lost for coming. Narcina decides to face the Hydra with Lost. Knowing he won't be able to stop her, Lost only asks her to be careful and retreat if she's in danger. Meanwhile, Shig asks the rest of the lightning blades to stay put. Everyone agrees, including Margulis, who mentions that with his sword broken, he cannot fight. Narcina attacks first, and together with Lost, they manage to take down one of the Hydra's heads. Shig, for his part, uses his sword to sever another head. Seeing this, Margulis is shocked by Shig's strength and wonders why his sword doesn't break. Lyra immediately explains that it is a magic sword, a legendary blade of great power. The battle continues, but in a moment of distraction, Narcina is struck down and the Hydra takes her hostage, demanding a one-on-one duel with Lost. Everyone is shocked that the Hydra is intelligent enough to make such a demand, but Lyra explains that as monsters evolve, so does their intelligence. Thus, Lost accepts the challenge and charges at the Hydra. The scene suddenly changes, revealing an old man riding. Then we return to the fight, where Lost is seen collapsing to the ground, defeated. When Laost appears to have lost consciousness, he suddenly rises, emitting a mysterious aura. The voice of the old man says, "What should have remained dormant?" With a sinister appearance, Laost defeats the Hydra in an instant. After returning to his normal form, he collapses, leaving everyone in shock. Narcena wakes Laost up a while later. He immediately worries about her and Armia. Seeing that they are both okay, he relaxes. Lyra asks what happened, but Laost doesn't seem to remember anything. Margulis comments that he has always known Laost was very strong, and that with him, they can defeat any monster, even the boss of the Mardat Labyrinth. He suggests splitting the rewards between himself, Siberia, and Laost, claiming that the newcomers did almost nothing. As for Armia, they comment that she might not be salvageable and suggest selling her, as she would at least be useful for something. Many people would pay for a doll like her, as she is not unattractive. This angers Laost and Narcena punches Margulis in the face. He threatens to report her to the guild for attacking another adventurer, but Shig and Lyra intervene, pointing out that they have witnessed a proposal for human trafficking, a serious crime. Eventually, Margulis and Siberia are arrested. Back at the guild, it is revealed that Shig is actually Sieg, a licensed adventurer from the royal capital. Sieg explains that licensed adventurers have authority over others, and that due to the city's security issues caused by certain adventurers, he was sent to investigate. His investigation led him to Margulis and Siberia, who will likely be expelled from the guild and sentenced to hard labor for human trafficking. Laost asks Sieg to speak privately. He pleads for Margulis and Siberia to be given another chance, arguing that while they can now seek fame and fortune, it probably wasn't always that way. Sieg agrees on the condition that they leave for the farthest city they can find, warning that if he sees them again, they will face the consequences. Sieg muses that in cities with many licensed adventurers, such as the royal capital, supervision can work, but in a rural area like Mardat, it is less effective. He decides to stay a little longer. Narcena apologizes to Laost and says that it was her idea to help Margulis, and that he will now be expelled from the guild. Laost tells her that while he had unfinished business with him, that no longer matters. At the inn, Sieg speaks with Lyra and mentions plans to monitor the adventurers' headquarters, as the royal capital suspects that the problem may be coming from the guild itself or its master. Sieg asks Lyra to team up with him again. She agrees on one condition, that she recruit Armia, as she cannot be left alone. Sieg agrees and mentions that he has discovered others worth keeping an eye on, especially one man, Laost. If you've reached this point in the video, don't forget to leave the word Exquisito in the comments. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.